For this example, we're given a number of observations of sample of time in the emergency room in minutes. So these are the amounts of time that people have spent sitting in the emergency room. What do we do with this? Well, we're supposed to find these following numerical measures. For me, what I like to do is put the data into a column to make it a little bit simpler to work with. So let's get rid of the borders first. And an easy way to change this data into column data is we copy it by row, and then when we hit the cell we want to place it in, we hit Paste Special and click Transpose in the bottom part of the dialog box right here. And you'll notice that it changes it from a row to column. You can of course go do it the other way as well. So we'll do that with the other columns. The other rows. And of course you want to make sure that you don't highlight a cell that already has data when you go to paste, because you'll end up losing data. So there we have it all in a nice column. So the N is our total number of observations, and the way we can find that out is we select all of the data, and we notice that down here we have the count and the numerical count. Again, right click on the status bar and you can select and unselect those. And both of those say 30, and one of them is the count, one of them is the numerical count. What's the difference? Well, if you happen to capture your label when you're selecting your text, you'll notice that the count becomes 31 and the numerical count is 30. So the numerical count is just counting the cells that have numbers, and the count counts all of the cells with text or numbers in it. So in this case, the numerical count is correct. It's 30. We put 30 in here. Another feature you can do is you can use the formula equals count, and you'll see it says counts the number of cells that contain numbers. We can go and highlight our text, so there's a function built in for this in Excel, and we get the same value. How do we get the mean? Well, we total or sum our column of data. We get 2757. Then we divide that sum divided by our number of observations, which is 30, and we get 91.9. So we can copy that 91.9 up here. Excel has a built-in function called average that gets your mean for you. Again, you highlight the text, hit enter, and it puts it in for you. Now for the mode, the median, we want the middle number. Remember, this is an even number, so we're going to have to do a little extra step. How do we get the median? If we take our data, sort it from smallest to largest, now we can add in or insert a column. Let's just call it observation number. We can put a 1 in, then highlight the 1, drag the bottom right hand corner. You see the plus sign is highlighted. If you hit the control key, there's a little smaller plus sign that shows up as well, and release, and you'll see that it's pasted it in as a series. So this is just the count, or the number representing a label for our observation. We have 30, so what we need to select are the two middle numbers. In that case, our middle numbers, because we're even, we have to take the average of the two middle numbers to determine the median, and that number for each case is 86, so that makes our median easy to calculate, because the average of 86 and 86 is 86. You'll also find that there's a median function in Excel that will do that as well, and it's called equals median. For the mode, what do we have to do? We have to count our observations and see which one or which ones show up most frequently. So in our case, we count our observations and we see that there are 2 10s and 2 86s. So let's just highlight these. and see if we get any number higher than that. So it looks like we have a bimodal distribution with 10 and 86 as our two modes. Now let's run the formula that Excel has, and that is mode, select our data set again, hit enter, and we get 10. Notice that Excel's function does not calculate all modes. So what we have to do in this case is, let's go ahead and just select any cell in the column, hit insert, select pivot table, and it automatically selects both the columns, but we only want the one column. You can keep the label in. So let's highlight our data, and instead of putting it in a new worksheet, well, we'll put it in a new worksheet, make it a little bit cleaner. So we take our pivot table, which now given us a new worksheet. We have ER time listed up here because that's the only column of data that we selected. If we drag that down into our row label and drag that down into our values, it's now summing the rows, the data. But we don't want a sum, we want a count. So click on, let's back up. In the values field, hit the sum of ER time, change the value field setting to count, and now we have the counts. Simply select the counts column, go back to home, sort filter, in this case we want to go from largest to smallest, and we find that we have two modes, the same two that we found before. That's using a pivot table to find your mode for you.